Alright, we're going to talk about setting up the pistons for the first time. Now I've just had the boat down the pond and I've gone through this process, so now in retrospect I want to talk to you about it to show you how I've done it. You know how the boat works basically, but now comes the time of setting up the pistons. So this is the process that I went through to get to this point. First of all, these are the pistons at either end of all of the guts here. This is the motor room and so on. I've just put the pistons here bigger so you can see them a little bit better. The first thing that I needed to do to set up the pistons was to get the pistons running in here, connect up the Arduino, and then using the serial monitor on the Arduino, we're going to measure through the distance sensors where the stopper points are on both of the pistons, which for example would be, I'll do them in red. Here and here, we run them up to that position, we measure where they are, and then we put that straight into the code and upload it into the submarine. What that does is this. Oh, no. Before I go there, let me say that the other thing that we want this to represent the point where the boat's on the surface. We want this to represent the point where the boat is sitting on the bottom. So we've also got another position, which is of course the snapshot point, neutral buoyancy. So we're just going to pretend and make that up and put it around about here, which would be about right. And we're going to say that that is neutral buoyancy. And how we measure that is dynamic. We just click the button on the receiver and that records those positions. Now let me just explain quickly how this therefore works in practice on the receiver. So we have on the receiver the arm which causes both of these pistons to go out or both of these pistons to go in, but they will only go out to this point and this point. So they'll only run within the boundaries that we've set in the Arduino. The other control, which is the rotating knob, when we hit that button, it actually sends both the pistons that way and that way. So that enables the boat to get the fore and aft adjustment occurring. The trick about that control, however, is that it's not controlled by anything. Which means, if I put the boat on the bench and say disconnect one of the pistons and run this piston using the trim, I can take it right out, disconnect it, and then feed it back in. That's how I get the piston in and out. That's pretty smart. And you tend only to use that particular button just to adjust the fine adjustment. So that's a nice thing to do. The third button is the diving and the surfacing routine, and that runs between here and here, from fully surfaced to snapshot or to neutral buoyancy. So, and there's a bit more to that one as well, which we'll explain as we go along, that we also have to control. But that's what we want to do. So then I decided that the time had come to set the boat up. What we did was this. I put the pistons and lined them up with neutral buoyancy, put the whole boat together. We don't need the power, turn the power off. The whole thing was set up, everything sealed, and then dropped it in the water, as you will see. Now, what was going to happen then was that the boat's going to do anything and everything. In actual fact, it floated pretty well. But what I wanted the boat to do was to be at neutral buoyancy. So I started putting lead on here and then gradually filled the lead up into these little spots, built it into the boat, so that in fact when I put the boat in the water without any power, this being at this level, it was actually round about pretty close to neutral buoyancy. That was what I wanted. When I'd achieved that, I took the boat out of the water once again, and this time I brought the pistons out to the maximum positions, and I actually opened the watertight cylinder to do that because I didn't want any pressure to get involved in that. I should say, by the way, I discovered that to pull the watertight cylinders apart and put them together, I didn't realise what a big difference having twin pistons made, because if you just put the boat, you disconnect all of the connectors and stuff, and you put the watertight cylinder on the bench and bring the pistons in, it just pops apart. It's really quite easy. But put this in the water, got that, then I put them at maximum, in that position, put it in the water and it floated. Now what I also did was I put a line on here and a line on there to say where the boat should be. It was much higher than that, which was actually good news because it meant that I didn't need all of the piston capacity that I had. So then I used the controls to bring the boat down lower in the water, get the angle right, played with that, played with that, played with that until it was spot on, then turned it off, pulled it out, because I want now to see where the pistons are. And the pistons were sort of like that and like that. So, connect it up to the serial port, find out what those positions are, put them in the code, and we have new positions for the boat, for the pistons. They are now there and there. That's pretty exciting. So that means that when I surface the boat, it sits at the right position. When I put it on dive routine, it goes to neutral buoyancy, and when I put it on surface, it goes to surface. Now, there's a slight complication that I still haven't quite sorted out yet. It's a good complication, and it's this. When I turn the surfacing routine on, the bow piston starts for 5 seconds and then it's followed by the stern one. That enables the boat to come up like that. Works really well. I've already done that. That's a nice one. But what I have to do is I have to now put this on the bench, and I have to, with the pistons at the maximum position, I have to dive the boat on the bench and work out if there's any difference in the amount of time it takes these pistons to go on, because one's going to stop and the other one's going to keep going. I've got to know how much that is, because that is going to be adjusted when the boat dives. So I hit the dive button, the bow piston starts, and then it's followed by that one, so they both meet neutral buoyancy at the same time. Pretty easy to do. It's just simple maths and working it out. Haven't finished that yet, but that's going to be really fun. I'm going to do that once the whole boat is ready and finished and ready to go. Okay, good on you. Oh dear.
Never to be seen again.
Yeah, this is a moment of truth.
Well, you've got a identification on.
That's good so far.
Bring it back down again. Bloody hell. Back down again.
It's going to get a bit heavier. Oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow.
I've got it on film if that's any good to you.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe.
Somebody hold me so I
Well, just grab it here. Just grab it.
I've got it here.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right. It needs a bit more lead than I thought it would, but anyway.
Just don't touch that prop on.
No, everything's on.
Lose a few fingers.
It's all static. Just to add to the complexity of the task. Now, if you try not to tip
wanting
that off,
it's wanting to tip towards the wharf.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's because this is going to go down in the bottom of the boat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so yeah.
So it doesn't matter about
It
that.
won't,
Let's see how that looks. Can I let go?
yeah.
From where I sit, this is pretty packed with this. Can you just grab it again so it doesn't twist?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
I might spend a bit of
Hand
time
up,
here.
Tony.
Oh, that's very successful, actually. Oh,
Not quite.
you know what?
It's a little high.
That's not bad at all. But it's a bit high in the bow.
But it's
isn't
right on the back. It's right in the stern, but it's a little high in the bow.
it? All right. Swell. I'll get the remote. We'll make it a bit heavier. Bring the stern up, bow down. It actually looks, in real, you know, when you see them on the water, they have a real stern. They're stern down. But that's probably about right. I think we've got that about right now. Not bad. Okay. I need to improve the speed of its. What I want to do now, though, I'm going to take it inside and mark where those pistons are.
I'll put the tug on it. The big one.
That's it. It's level.
It is. It's much better.
So the stern settles towards bow.
Yeah,
Come on. Thresher, is it?
Thresher was
Yeah. Yeah. It's a Los Angeles class. Takes a little while to level out. Oh, it's actually got a bow thrust in it, but I haven't.
So, were you over in Casey or?
I was over there a couple of weekends ago.
Very nice indeed. You got that?
My wife insisted on me putting on this jacket
Yeah.
and taking these little mittens,
Okay.
and I'm really grateful. It is really cold.
It is cold. Yep.